All right, we'll call the Brunswick County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for September 3rd to order. And if you'll join me in a invocation and a pledge. Father God, we come to you this afternoon seeking your guidance and direction for the county, Father. We ask that you lead us down the discussion of things that will continue to create a beautiful county and address issues as they come forward, Father. Father, we give thanks for all those that are serving in harm's way, Father, that they're giving us the opportunity to be here, Father, to make those decisions. We certainly give thanks for all those that have served and those that continue to serve. We also, Father, want to mention our public safety community and asking you to continue to keep them safe as they respond to the needs of Brunswick. We ask all this in your holy and precious name.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, are there any adjustments to the agenda?
I have one I'd like to add after administrative report, add board appointment of the at-large position on the Substance Use Addiction and Mental Health Commission.
Okay.
If there are no others, I'll move approval of the agenda with that change.
I'll second.
Is there any others? We've got a motion on the second. Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
All right.
Right. And before we get to public comment, you know, it's not always that we can start a meeting off with some good news. But there's this past week, I believe, we had 2 detention officers recognized with the American Red Cross Life Saving Award for the actions that they took to save the life of an inmate. That's Detention Officer Cunningham and Detention Officer Boyd. And I just wanted to reach out and make mention of them in a public setting of how much we appreciate what our detention staff does. I know it's a pretty demanding position, and for them to be able to administer aid, have the training to administer aid to actually save the life of an individual and then be recognized, I think it's a big commitment. So, all right. Is there any other comments before we go to public? Hearing none, we have this period of time set aside for public comment. It is your opportunity to share with us any items that you wish to. You have 3 minutes in which to do so. It's not a Q&A or town hall type of process. You're just sharing with us. If there's anything that we need to give administration, task them with following your comments, we'll certainly do that. If you have anything, any literature that you wish the commissioners to receive, we would ask that you provide that to the clerk, and the clerk will make sure that she provides it to all commissioners. So having said that, we'll go ahead and get started, and we have a sign-up list that is outside the door, so I'll follow that list. Robert Fulton.
Thank you. My name is Robert Fulton. I live at 3898 Timber Stream Drive in Southport. I'd like to address you in regards to agenda item number 7, administration of state legislative goals. I would respectfully request that the Brunswick County Board of Commissioners consider the following requests. First, a legislative goal to reinstitute legislation to support protection of all wetlands based on the science of what constitutes a wetland, its function and benefit to society. Second, a legislative goal to eliminate unrestricted clear cutting. Third, a legislative goal to restrict open burn of debris from land clearing to include removal of debris to approved dump sites or required removal of ash to approved dump sites to prevent pollution of lakes, ponds, and streams. Four, a legislative goal to obtain authorization for a tree ordinance for Brunswick County. Five, a legislative goal to establish transitional zoning provisions to be applicable to areas impacted by the removal of ETJs. And lastly, a legislative goal to support assessment to repeal the Certificate of Need law, which may limit the ability to seek new healthcare facilities for Brunswick County. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's everyone that we had signed up for this afternoon, so I'll go for and seek approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Very good. Right. So we go to presentations, and I believe planning is up.
The UDO modernization project update. The project consultant is in focus planning, and they're a planning firm that does plans and ordinances, and they are taking us through this process. Their contract began on May 15th of this year. This project is anticipated to take 12 to 14 months since the start of it. That would be in May. So what has been happening since we started? So of course, the contract was executed in May. In June was project orientation. Staff met with the consultant and had a long meeting with them and talked about the goals and objectives of the project. Plan review is June through August. This included a review of our policies, procedures, plans, existing UDO, all our adopted plans, as well as the planning staff had a wish list. The wish list encompassed about 100 items that we would like to see within a new UDO. And so they were able to review that. In late October, November timeframe to start drafting the new UDO and finalizing the version of the UDO. After that, they'll have to go through the public process. There'll be public hearings, lots of notifications. We'll probably be sending out 35,000 plus notices with staff helping with that. I would anticipate that to happen probably in summertime of next year. So there is a process, there is a guide, we are right on target. They divide the project out into 5 tasks, and we're in month 3 to 4 right now. And so we're right on target where the project should be. So that's where the project is right now.
All right. So, questions?
Thank you for updating us, because this shows us that we're trying to get some things done. I do have one request. I would like to, during the process of removing the ETJ from Southport, I discovered during the public meeting with the citizens that the county did not have a low density zoning. And so to offer to the citizens, we didn't have anything that they felt comfortable with. And of course, we went with the R7500. Most citizens were concerned, and so I would like to make a motion that the consultant consider creating a traditional zoning for the ETJ. This will benefit the whole county and needs to be done before North Carolina does away with the ETJ, because we need to be prepared in case they do away with it. So I would like to have a second to have a traditional.
So does that require a second, or are we just asking the consultant to review this and bring recommendations back to us? In that case, I would think it would just be offering them information to consider.
I don't guess it would matter, because I think that they will end up adding some zoning to the new, UDO, and you can.
That was gonna be my question, you know, with R 7500, it looks like there's, you know, R 7500, 5.8.
5.8 units, well, that's with water and sewer, mind you. That's with water and sewer. Without is only 2.2 units per acre without water and sewer. And so, yes, we are missing several zoning districts, and that's something that was on the staff wish list, is to expand the number of zoning districts. It's in our land use plan for recommendations, is to re-examine, as well as they're gonna bring back some ideas for new districts.
Okay, so we are anticipating addition
Yes,
to come back to
Yes.
this. Yeah, I guess my big thing is, I too did not realize the Southport issue with the, I think it's R20 that they use, apparently, which is like 2.5.
they have a lot of it zoned R20, but their plan development process is like a rezoning process and allows 6 units per acre. And so we were comparing a lot to their PD process.
So, but I guess I would be curious in what all the other municipalities have, if they have something different than that, but it's, you know, I think Commissioner Sykes is absolutely correct. If in fact that ETJs are going to go away, it would be nice to be able to understand what's going on currently within those ETJ areas across the town, to see how compatible we are. Not that we would, I guess we'll make that decision when the time comes, but it would be nice to know what they have and how they, because I guess the thing you can have, just like in Southport's case with the R20, and then they come on to a PUD, or qualify for a PUD, and that actually fits them higher than what R 7500 is. So I'm kind of, you know, okay, if that's what they're gonna do, then,
Well, your multiple family units, you can put 11 units per acre. In Southport's UDO.
so again, I guess what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a very in-depth digging down in to see where we're.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
reference to this, you know, if the General Assembly does abolish ETJs, then we're going to have probably half a dozen different perspectives on how they do design. So from a collaborative, comprehensive perspective, we ought to look at it and see what we may be missing, you know, in light of that. The good news is a lot of these areas in the South area are already built out. And so that's not an acute concern. The other thing about it is that there are, for a greater or lesser degree, a lot of these places have HOAs and have covenants associated with it. So that provides protection for individuals at this time. But, you know, I live in the South End County, and if indeed ETJs are abolished, if they are abolished in places like Charlotte or Sunset Beach, Ocean Isle Beach, or any of these other areas, you know, we need to know what it's going to be. I think what our ordinances, we're talking to a lot of people, our ordinances right now work, but looking ahead, what we do, we may have to, you know, figure out what we're going to do when and if that ETJ abolishment drops. Then we're already ready to get a cover for those things, because it will be key for those areas because they're not developed.
I can tell you planning staff is already investigating this. There's a lot of information online that we can access. So I have a staff member that's already investigating the ETJs of all the towns
Just be prepared.
to be prepared.
Mr. Fulton.
I am completely in favor of coming up. I look at it a little bit different. I don't want spot zone. I'm not a fan of spot zone. Just doing something with TJ. If we're gonna do it, let's do one countywide, a new zoning ordinance with less density. So just to work around number, if we're currently at 5 units per acre on one, R 7500, come up with something else that's like 2.5 or something. A less dense zoning ordinance. I don't wanna do one zone here, one there, there's what, 6 total TJs including Southwood? If they're all gonna go away, I don't wanna do this for this one, this for that, we open up a can of worms, and we never get the lid back.
Yeah.
Let's have one for all of them.
Well,
Or, I guess what I'm looking at is, I wanna make sure that planning has a toolbox. And a lot of different tools in the box, if we look at an R 10,000, an R 12,000, you know, I guess in the development would fit into whichever one, but so I think we're gonna need, you know, a broad selection in your toolbox for y'all to be able to share that with the development community and to get us where we need to be. So, because I agree, I don't think we can come out with one thing and share that across the county. I think everywhere is pretty much different.
and the thing is, we are already zoned in those areas. So we would, you know, most areas want to keep the zones they have. So, ours is not quite there, but it's kind of, because we don't have a certain sewer, we don't have an HOA, so it's kind of there, but it's not there. So, all these places in the ETJ are already zoned. So the county just didn't have what we needed to provide there. So with the new, UDO being looked at, we need more zoning code to be able to accommodate.
That's what I was thinking.
Right,
Let's have.
and it won't be, it might not be the same though, because we're already zoned.
Just my thought, the reason I would rather suggest y'all need to look at it than make a motion to direct you is I want to hear what the consultant and the planning board suggest to us, not what we told them to come back with. I don't want it to be received that we told you to go do this. I want to hear what you guys vet and I hope you'll vet and give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. What are the good sides of it? What could be the unintended consequences of it? And how will it impact, and what's the true impact, not just us tell you we want you to go do this. So that's why I adopted that approach. I may be in favor of it, but the devil's in the details, and I won't know till I see those details.
Cool. Yep. Hey, and one last question too, weeks ago, we, I think the, planning board started discussing some of the items that we sent back.
They did.
There's a meeting that was held with the developing community.
Yep.
When's that?
So since that time, we made revisions. The planning board steering committee made some revisions. They shared them back to the development community and got comments. And they're going to meet and talk about their comments. We are going to take it to the planning board as a whole on September 9th for them to discuss about potential changes.
Okay. Would it?
It will not be a public hearing. It's just for discussion.
Sure. I'm just curious in what the recommendation's going to be back to the planning board to consider. I'm assuming once the planning board makes a decision on whatever modifications might have been made to the original, that it's going to come back to us. For the
Of
final
course.
decision.
Yes, then it will come back to you. It will probably go back to planning board for a public hearing as well. So we can anticipate maybe October for a planning board public hearing at planning board, and then maybe November to you or December, depending on process and what needs to change and stuff.
Okay. Good. Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Right, now we're at the administrative, and I guess we're gonna turn it over to Mr. Stout.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have in your packets a list of the Association of Counties goals for the FY 23-24 session. And most of you said that you liked those and to continue the ones that had not been fulfilled. So I had a discussion with the advocacy and legislative director at NCACC. And she said it would be fine for us to submit and say that to continue the ones that haven't been fulfilled. And also had a discussion about some other potential ones, and of course, Mr. Fulton brought some up during his public comment also, but the ones we had were to address the issues with care, relating to the problems with appropriate for youth and the needs for additional to support youth placements. We also had one related to adult protective services. That area continues to grow for us in activity, and there's only about 2,100 for Brunswick County to deal with that. So the suggestion that and we have like a 25% increase in reports in the county in just the last few years. So we'd like to see the state step up to the plate more for adult protective services. Also, another one, unrelated to human services, the Regulatory Reform Act of 2024 included a provision to physically post delinquent tax notices on the land parcel. And that is a logistical issue for, I think, all 100 counties, and really can be a safety issue for county employees. There were actually discussions, I think, with some of the bill sponsors before it passed by into the ACC, but I think it was too far down the river at that point. But I think that would be worthy for you to consider asking that it be repealed, because honestly, I don't think county staff believe that it would increase collections at all to physically have to put a sign on every parcel, and obviously it would be an expense.
I'm not familiar with this legislation at all. It's the first time I'm hearing of it. So we're supposed to go quick. So Mr. Smith doesn't pay his property taxes. We're supposed to send an employee out with another yellow sign to post on his property.
At the time you would publish a delinquent tax notice, you would also physically post another yellow sign stating that the taxes on that parcel were delinquent on that parcel.
That's all.
How long do you think that sign would actually
Really?
stay there? 5 minutes?
Really?
And how much time would it take for that? You have to go through all this and no.
And order signs, yeah, that's not well thought out.
I think, we agree. We don't know exactly how it got in there. It appeared sort of late in the session, as I say, but the association staff saw it and said, can we talk about this? It was just too late to change it.
I heard about it at our state board meetings, first I heard of it, and they were of similar opinion to us. I don't know of a single person who thought it was a good idea.
We don't know anybody that personally thought it was a good idea.
Somebody, we're not sure who that was.
Another one you could consider adding is actually one that we've had a discussion, and we're going to have a workshop and some information later this calendar year. But the association thinks pushing for statewide additional flexibility for occupancy tax allowable expenses is something that would be worthwhile to make part of the legislative agenda.
I'm game with including that with the seek legislation language.
And the other item that the association is looking at is some sort of assistance for orphan roads, maybe to help transition them into the state road network, and some state funding to help with that.
That would be outstanding, because people are really caught betwixt and between on this. They buy the properties and somebody doesn't inform them of the
constraints of it, and they think it's a county road or something like that. There's no such thing as North Carolina County roads, and so, and you never can. And I tell you, my family, my brother, in fact, was trying to get some neighbors to try to pay something down where they were, no, they wouldn't do it. And I hear this over and over, constituents, no, I'm sorry, but nobody cares except him, you know, it's like, it's hard, it's terrible. Yes.
Looking at the ones you've got in the packet, I'm good with all of those. I guess we've got those, and then we've got any.
Can you put this on the
Yeah, put
screen?
those on the screen. That'd be- No, the goal, the third, the goal.
Yeah.
Title FY 23-24.
Third item in the agenda, second after the agenda item and the current agenda. Left side of the.
I'm trying to,
Down one.
Yep, that's it.
Actually, that's not the one I was looking for.
It's the next
The
one.
next one, that's-
Oh,
Oh, what better?
And just for the benefit of those in the audience and the media, the way the state goals process works, the things they look for, number one, is that truly a statewide issue that's gonna affect all 100 counties. If it's just a Brunswick County issue, it's dead on arrival. If it's just a Wake County issue, it's dead on arrival. And, secondly, is it truly a county issue? It might be something counties are interested in, but it's not a county government issue, it's gonna probably be dead on arrival as well. And the third thing is, this is a change that was made a couple of years ago, is it takes a 2/3 vote at every step of the process to make it on the goals agenda. That way it makes sure that anything that gets on that goals agenda is something that counties across the spectrum are united on, and that all the, and 2/3 majority of the counties are willing to have our legislative staff go down there and advocate for it. It's not a 51-49 thing that one party or the other push through because they happen to have enough votes that day. It's truly a county priority. I'm good with everything on this list.
mhm.
I wouldn't, there's one of these that Mr. Colton put here, and appeals to me. And it's the wetland, the first one. You know, we tried to stop something once before because we knew it was wetlands and we lost that. Yeah.
Well, all the counties would have to have wetlands.
And I'll bet you most do. Maybe not mountains, obviously, but I would bet most do. The fact that we're not allowed to take water off of the property, we gotta keep it on there. It's nuts. There's the retention ponds all over the place and everything else. I wish somebody would look at this.
I have not spoken to Mr. Fulton prior to today, but I believe what he may have been referring to is actually asking to restore some of the wetland protections that were removed by the Supreme Court. And the primary thing that was removed, isolated wetlands are no longer protected anymore.
Right.
And it would take state legislation
Put it back.
to protect them again.
I don't know if we get 2/3 of the vote at the NCCC, but certainly something worth looking at.
Yeah, that would be hard, it would be hard.
It would be hard to get it.
Yeah, because you have to get the votes
They did
and
67.
other things are gonna go above that with votes.
Randy, you were chair of the environment committee a couple of years ago. How do you think that's where it would go, I guess?
Yeah, but it would go there and discussion would take place. The, you know, I guess yeah, as I understand it now, the ability for developers to be able to use some of that wetland area in the construction process. you know that the minute that, I look at the NCACC as a, we've got a great lobbyist team that goes over to the General Assembly and carry goals. They are met face to face with other lobbyist groups that are gonna be there. I mean, that, if this made it into legislation, then somebody's lobbyist group has already done their job. Whereas we probably disagree with it, and I can assure you that whenever we were in the legislative, subcommittees, discussion took place, but it was something that you're combating. And it's just like you said, every county is not the same, so the representation, you know, we had good representation because we had, when I was on there, because we had good representation from our neighboring county, New Hanover, which saw things as we saw things that, you know, this is an issue for us to discuss, but whenever you get outside of that and the other 30 members sitting around the table have no idea what you're talking about, there's an education process that has to take place. And a lot of times that seems to fall through the cracks for us to get our lobbying group together, go together. But I still think if you were able to come up with a good goal associated with this, that we would garner a lot of support from a number of other candidates. I mean, we would not be by ourselves. We may not be totally, but I think whenever it went to the environmental committee, that this would certainly be something that they flag and try to push forward.
But you got pension, all the way up the code.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the education steering. So similar arguments, you know,
Oh, yeah.
who doesn't have, you know, Mecklenburg, Wade, you know, they got silly money. They build schools, like that. And yeah, it's a constant fight, we don't always get what we want.
Yeah, and that is same way with this group, so. So I don't know, I think if we could come up with something, if planning could assist and we could come up with something, it's worth looking at, but I think these are due right after this meeting.
Yeah, I think they were.
That's long.
So I think we got an extension, but
But how many from each department is approved? Is there one or two that goes to the final? I mean, we could have, 50
Yeah, they're-
I'll be more than that.
from
You said
across the
it.
100 states, the 100 I mean, you got a lot of counties.
Yeah, there's hundreds.
And they bring all these things, these goals in. It's gonna be hard to move up anything unless it matches what some of the other counties.
I have seen 2 and 3 goals get combined into one because they're related.
yeah.
So I've seen that happen.
And I've seen a number of guys before need to go back before an appeal. They were denied in the major group and then come back for an appeal. That is tough. I would volunteer for that group.
No.
That's tough.
And the certificate of need one, that's one I could see some benefit in a reworded version of that. You're not gonna get full repeal through the association, but if you changed it to reform. Because if you repeal it, there's some small counties where I actually see the need for it. There was Washington County, they had an issue where if you were completely repealed it, then some of the services that are provided in their emergency room might pop up across the road, and then all their emergency room is getting to the people who can't pay their bills. They don't have anything bringing in revenue, and it's with their hospital. But then here in Wake County, you've got different scenarios. So I think some sort of reform as opposed to repeal, but I think that one might get flagged on. Is it a county government issue?
It's good.
Well, I'm fine with the goals. Do we need to make a motion?
I think we need to move forward, yes. So.
Move forward with the goals that are in the presentation.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Do you want to add any additional on staff? proposed?
The one you proposed about the, sign,
Yeah, certainly.
I think we.
Yeah, that was-
That would affect all the counties,
Okay, that's, yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure we won't be the only one that's.
Yeah.
And I think something about this is,
Yeah.
because I got up and frustrated that thing. It's about 35 states. It was initially started in the 1960s and had good intent. And it also supported a lot of community hospitals, which we've seen go away. I'm in County of Anson. We had a Anson County Hospital. It was bulldozed. And now they have a corporate hospital that deals with it. And so I think, yeah, we need to look into it. And there may be, like you said, it may not be one size fits all, but it is starting to go away. And I've looked at it through the years, yeah.
I wrote down some language here I can share if y'all would be willing to do it, and I can read it and I can send it to staff to make sure they get it. Support legislation, and I use that word support, but support legislation to reform the certificate of need law to increase access to healthcare facilities statewide.
I'm fine with this, certificate of needs.
Support legislation to reform the certificate of need law to increase access to healthcare facilities statewide.
Because it's been an issue for a long time.
And I can email that to staff so you have it.
But if you have one medical facility that has a controlling influence, then what happens is they will control how many doctors come into here, how many people practice. And I've got in my family that actually works in the system as a cardiologist. One being, this does open the door for additional physicians to come in and other medical facilities to come in if needed.
So, Mr. Sykes, do you want that, your motion to include that?
Yes, include both of those, the one about the.
Any further interest in the orphan roads?
Yes, there's all three, but I just don't think we're gonna have that many there to pass, but we can put it in there anyway.
We've got some pretty good representation. The three of us are on that.
I think it's two.
You're not that one? Yeah, man.
Yes, I do.
You're real nice, Mike.
I still love Ben.
I
love the other guys. This what it is. All right. Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the bills? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right. All right, so that moves us down to to our board team.
Board appointments for the at-large spot on the Substance Use Addiction and Mental Health Commission. I'd like to appoint Anthony Grimaldi, and I'll make a motion to do so.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right. Now we're at other business.
I've got 2 or 3 things. My son, as y'all were aware, my son was enlisted and now he's a second lieutenant. And he's a butter bar in armor, in the National Guard. And, he's going up for 3 weeks of training. He's getting 4 new tanks, brand spanking new. But anyway, I drove him up and, this is what I saw when I went into War County, the Southern Pines. And it's got a huge sign, welcome to War County. And it's got something about the PTA. And the other thing is, it says, in God we trust. We have about 8 different accesses to our county. And, we really need to update that sign and talk to the county manager, but working on that. We need a seal that we can put onto it. And I would submit that if we had something that was like this, and potentially has a slogan, some kind of slogan, I mean, a great place to live or something. We could even do a campaign that is some kind of contest to come up with a slogan. This is God we trust underneath here, we can put that in as well. So not all counties have that. In fact, I seen another photo of another county and it was like just a sign that said, the name of the county and CO period, so that's one thing I would like to see us look into. I don't know there's a motion needed, but if there's enough interest.
I can tell you, serving on different transportation boards, you'd be floored at how expensive those things are.
Well, it's a big deal.
It's 6 figures.
Really?
Yeah, they're high.
Well, at least we can look into it. The other thing is Connor Wilkinson, as you're probably well aware, Connor has been interacting with some of us, and I'm just gonna read an email because it's self-explanatory. My name is Connor Wilkinson, and I'm currently a junior at West Brunswick High School. This past summer, I served as a Senate page in North Carolina General Assembly for Senator Bill Raven, as well as the governor's page for Governor Roy Cooper. During my tenure in these positions, I became aware of a program run by the Department of Administration that allows each county to have their own youth council. But only about 15 counties currently have a youth council, Brunswick County not being one of them. I was contacting you today to ask the Brunswick County Board of Commissioners may be interested in creating a youth council for Brunswick County, and if any of the commissioners may be interested in serving as the advisor for this council. The main goal of the youth council would be to promote youth involvement in governmental affairs and increase civic literacy and participation in our county. This council will also organize and assist in community service efforts and initiatives throughout the county. If you'd like any further information about the youth council, you can reach me by this email anytime. Thank you. I think he's got a good point, and so I was just want to bring this forward to see if you folks thought it'd be a good idea, and so we can look into it, and the administration can interface with Mr. Wilkerson, and you know, and I think it's pretty cool that he served both as governor's page and the Senate page. That's pretty cool.
He's a very impressive young man.
Yes, he is.
I would have no opposition to us looking into that. I think it sounds like a worthy thing.
Indeed.
And when I see the 4-H kids that come here,
Right.
and the boys and girls, I mean, they are so impressive. They're a lot more impressive than I was when I was that age.
I know exactly what you're saying.
When I was that age, I was probably out throwing rocks at my cousins. I wasn't doing anything productive. I think anything we can do to encourage kids to get involved in things like that.
So if we just give administration direction on that and see what you can come up with.
Probably would go to cooperative extension first, which they handle our youth development programs other than sports.
We go down.
See if they're interested.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, I have one. It's sort of a question, I guess. What happens to the county equipment? I noticed that Columbus County had a big auction of all their stuff at the sheriff's office. Do we not have the auction didn't we used to have an auction?
Maybe in the distant past, we had a physical local option, then we went to Gov Deals, and right now we use a different internet-based option that increased our yield by quite a bit on rolling stock type of equipment.
But does the citizens of the county get to bid on it or anything?
Yeah, it's an open, publicized process.
What's the location to go to that?
It's linked from the operations page when it's up. I don't have the exact.
You know, so where that is, I've got a couple of questions.
Be good to promote that on social website, newsletters here every now and then.
Okay, that's all I got. I was just curious.
Two things. One, at the COG office the other day, I noticed they still have our flag like that with a gold seal on it. I'd love to see us get some new flag for here and a new flag for the COG office for their beautiful new seal that much better represents our county. So
I think that's in order.
I figured it might be there. And I went to the tax office as a customer the other day, and I have no idea if the young lady that helped me had any idea that I was a convicted. It never came up, but she did an amazing job, very friendly and very efficient. So I wanted to give my kudos. And this was in the middle of Melinda's retirement ceremony across the hall. She was over there working.
They do a great job. I've been in there quite a bit.
Very friendly and upbeat, and it took a lot less time than I thought it would. We had 2 car companies we had to change, and we were able to do it just like that.
Yeah, it's very nice.
So I just wanted to share that.
On that note, talking about DMV, I have yielded probably 5 phone calls over the last couple of weeks. The Shalom, when it comes to your driver's license, we're not talking plates,
Right.
because we do a phenomenal job with that here. And apparently Shalom's doing a pretty good job with it as well. But when it comes to renewing your license, you can only do it online. You gotta start like 75 days before your license expires. And then you go on and you try to do it, and you're booked out for 90 or 120 days. So you wind up with an expired driver's license. And you call down to Charlotte, if they'll answer a phone, which is very rare, they'll tell you, we're booked out for 90 to 120 days. And you got people driving on an expired license because they can't get in there. Is there any, do we have any idea when this Southport one is supposed to open?
Well, it would be nice if we could get the mobile back in. They used to come and do the drive.
They stopped. They don't have plans for Southport License Bureau. They stopped the mobile license bureau because the cell providers couldn't provide enough signal density in Southport to support their equipment. So folks have contacted me too, and I suggested, that they reach out to the DMV Commissioner's office, because I'm also being told you are not allowed to wait inside the building, even if you have an appointment, you have to stand outside and wait.
It's slow.
I'm not responsible for their operation, but it's sort of hard for me to wrap my head around that.
And we've got a license plate agency here. We've looked into trying to get a driver's license agency here.
If we had space for them, we could ask. Typically, the state directly operates those, but if we provided space for them in the future, they might be willing.
Might be something
to
to look at.
staff one here.
Doing the facility expansion. And I know this has been brought up in the past, but there was discussion of trying to get a social security office in Brunswick County. Have you heard any more on the possibility of that?
It's not likely.
I
Basically takes congressional action and appropriation.
and I,
Can we add to our federal legislative goals?
Chancellor,
Yeah, that would
Congressman Rouse in the office upstairs over here. And it was presented to him, and Congressman Rouse called me, I'm gonna say 7, 8 weeks later, and said, not gonna happen.
It's the same way with the post office, you know, because Southport Post Office, my mail is never on time.
Oh,
It's at least 2 or 3 weeks behind now. And,
Yeah,
so I'm having to.
I swap mail with my neighbors. So, and it's not about they converse the numbers, so I swap mail. You get to meet your neighbors.
The Bolivia post office is overwhelmed too. I mean,
you're gonna tent. You're trying to work.
Well, I got one thing myself. I noticed in my drive from Ocean Isle to Bolivia that, I think I counted like 25, maybe more road signs that have been stuck on the side of the road. Just on 17th now, if I drive the county roads.
Businesses and things.
For businesses, hey, I'm gonna sell you a home, you know, and whenever I'm gonna sell you a home, I'm not gonna put one sign out there, I'm gonna put almost half a dozen signs up. If I realize that this is maybe state right away, so if we need to help the state in collecting those signs up, then I know we've got a community service officers that are out there, enforcement officers. So,
Well, they've been picking them up, but they haven't picked up any of these signs.
I think they need to do a clean sweep of the county, you know, matter of fact, I am glad that they finally did come and mowed the grass. Because I was worried, I mean, you could actually go down 17 and there'd be a deer in the median, and you wouldn't see the deer because the grass was so high. And so so I'm glad they did that, I'm glad they cut the grass. But now you got all these road signs, all these little, you know.
And we
And I
don't
realize,
have.
campaigns coming, so.
Randy, when they cut it in the size of.
Yes, well, they're spreading out there. And then, to be honest, about getting.
We do already have authority from NCDOT to pick up in those right of ways, and our staff does that. We have to be careful, we can only pick up signs in the unincorporated areas, so there will be some areas in 17 that we could not. some areas of other major highways, but we do have assigned staff or community enforcement staff to go out. And when they're conducting their normal daily business, if they see a sign on the road, they do secure those, bring them back to the facility. Fortunately, we allow businesses to recoup those. So we may collect them and they may return right back to the same street that it was collected on.
Why don't you bring us an ordinance to where they can pay to get them back?
We can look at civil funds.
$50 a piece or something.
We can look at civil
I
funds.
mean, you know, they're gonna apply. Anyway.
Depends on how many.
That's something, you know, that way you'll put them out there.
And in the summertime, we also have a staff member that works on Saturdays because we'll often see people go up on Friday afternoon and come down on Sunday. That they get collected, so we'll send one person out on Saturday for about a half a day to collect signs. But large county,
It's all.
they'll get staff. They design certainly out the staff's ability to collect them.
Cool.
And I've interacted with staff on this, because I've got someone who's reached out to me, he said, I'm trying to follow the rules, and my competitors are out there putting them up and doing exactly what you said, they put them up on Friday afternoon, take them down on Sunday. He said, why should I follow the rules if they're not? This guy's still following the rules, because he's that kind of guy, but it's frustrating to him that other people would want out there abusing the rules and
Yeah.
probably taking business away from him.
That's right. And-
Just go ahead with my campaign sign.
That's a different law, that's a state law.
All right. Is there any other business to come forward? Hearing none. Everybody's
I
going once.
adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, one better, right?